We are live. I'm Kelly. He's Adam.
Hey.
And we are here to ask you, who is your caddy? Hello. Hello, Adam.
Hello. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. If anybody has been following along, they will know a small fact about me that I'm having major surgery next week. It's getting a little scary. I'm hoping that you will be willing and able to man the ship without me for a week, at least a week.
I can do it.
Thank you. I will send perhaps some thoughts that you can share or not share. Who knows? Who knows? But I will say that Masters week was a heck of a week. We had some really good picks, including I happened to tweet, and I don't know where you stood on that. I take that back. I happened to tweet that Jon Rahm was going to be the guy and got a lot of pushback from the Scotty tribe. Where did you stand on Scotty versus Rahm?
I just wanted everyone to have fun. We got a lot of things right about the Masters. There are some things I want to go back and review and study, but I thought Jon Rahm was always going to be in contention. You never have to count him out, even after the 4-putt. Starting out the round, because with the weather coming in and the way that the course plays up and down, it's still anyone's game. For a while, everyone was just like, "Oh, Brooks has it in the bag. It's going to be fine." I was like, And so Jon Rahm comes roaring back. Phil Mickelson was second for a while.
That was wild.
Yeah.
I was actually really unhappy. I was a huge Phil fan. Big Phil fan. And when he went over to live, I was just really annoyed.
Well,
most of his comments, Adam, I think that's really why his comments bothered me.
Yeah, his comments probably weren't the best, considering that everyone knew his gambling debt was outrageous, and so yeah, you're just going over there to pay off some of that debt. But we did call that the Masters. This Masters is probably going to be the most watched and most contested Masters in a long time, and it almost went to Monday.
It almost did. I really didn't think that they would play 2 tees, honestly.
Yeah.
It's a very un-Augusta-like thing to do.
Yep. But they're just let's just crank it out.
Crank it out. Outside of that, still picked a ton of winners. Personally, ended up in the money in our smaller contest, which I think ended up with 20 people. And then in a larger contest, classic style, $3 contest, 16 whole dollars.
What?
Felt really good about that.
It's all about the pride.
It's all about the pride. And then in the FSGA Experts League, there are people from Yahoo, CBS, Better Sports Network, all those teams in there. I drafted specifically for the Masters, so this could be only my biggest winning week ever. We'll see. But second place overall and beat my matchup by well over 100 points. So pretty pleased overall. I hope all of you are too. Hope you guys made some money out there.
Yeah, I was pretty sad about JT missing the cut after he was up.
That
And
was a
then
bummer.
Rory not making it. He was not the Susie and Lucci this year.
He was not.
No.
My ankle's itching. Well, you guys, this week we have the RBC Championship, Royal Bank of Canada. Happens to be a really great tournament. I actually love this tournament, and I had a hard time picking my pool. I felt like there were a lot of players that were going to fit this course, especially in our lower tier. So we'll entertain ourselves while I figure out exactly what I want to say there, but I may just lay it all out. You never know. Do you want to tell us about the course this week? Do you have notes on the course this week?
I do have some notes on the course this week. So the Harbor Town golf links is that it's a link style golf course. So it's a little bit of forgiving fairways. When you have a link style course, you're going to have wider fairways, but the punishment really comes on the side of the fairways. There's not a lot of rough, but you have tall grass or native area, as they like to call it. But this is also the course if you casually watch golf. It has the lighthouse at the end of 18, where it's the red and white lighthouse. It is a par 71. It is about 7,100 yards. It's a little over 7,000, but it floats in between. So moving the tee box back and forth. Overall, what we're looking at for this particular course is it averages under par. The last year's cut was at E or even, and the average drive is about 277 yards. So that tells you everybody's playing for a little bit of accuracy, only because it has fairways that kind of, I would say, hourglass type fairways. So they have sometimes a skinny shoot, or like I said, they don't want to go off into the native area. There's some trees. There's a couple greens that do have that are surrounded by bunkers, and there's a couple par threes where water plays into it. So it's on one, you have water on the left side of it, and if the pin location is in a certain zone, you can get aggressive and then roll back into the water. But there is a pretty forgiving right side area. So we'll be looking at a lot of stats for this particular tournament. So I guess we can go into that.
I mean, why not? I have a train crossing happening right now. It's the perfect time to dive into stats. Personally, I was looking first and foremost at course fit. I'm looking at the approach first and foremost. And then I'm looking at accuracy for me was next. And then I'm sprinkling in some around the green. Obviously, there are other factors. I know we touched on it prior to going live. Why don't you share your other bits of sprinkles?
Sprinkle stats. So we touched on approach and around the green. I'm doing some par 3 scoring, and I'm going to do some par 4 scoring. But I'm also going to heavily weight birdie or better in bogey avoidance. Last year's winner was Jordan Spieth, but he also tied Patrick Cantlay at minus 13. So I think the other factor that we didn't touch on the course notes is the wind coming off the ocean. Could be also a factor. But I still think as long as the weather stays with us, we're probably look at minus 13 to 16. And so I'm also looking at a little bit of putting here approach. And so I'm looking at between 125 to 150 and then 175 in. So getting a little bit deeper on that approach shot.
I like it. I like it. So let's go ahead and dive right into the very top tier. And believe it or not, I had a very hard time when I looked at my pool and I matched them up against DraftKings salaries. I've come out with only one, and I happen to share it with you. So I might as well just spoiler alert it right now. The only one in my pool, in my notes, that comes out at the top tier of 9 to 10,000 plus was Colin Morikawa. So that's all I've got for you in this tier. I'm going to trust my own process, and that's my big fish this week. I know you have somebody else, and you could dive in to the whys of Morikawa if you'd like.
Sure. So I have actually these two, so Morikawa and Patrick Cantlay, kind of rank out at 6 and 7 in my model. And the reason is what we talked about before. So we're doing heavy on the approach. I did a little bit heavy on the around the green, and then we're talking about birdie or better, and then bogey avoidance. And Patrick Cantlay on the birdie or better is fourth in the field, and then when you look at par 3 scoring, he's seventh in the field, Cantlay. And then when you look at Morikawa, he's got a pretty good drive percentage. He's not great off the tee as far as accuracy goes, but I'm hoping that the little forgiveness shoots on the wider end of the fairway is going to help him out a little bit. But he's 8th in tee to green. So, if we're looking at the tee to green, that's kind of what you're looking for, the balanced player there.
Yeah. When I'm looking at his course fit model, specifically accuracy and approach jump far out ahead of the average tour play at this course. So I really do like that about Colin Morikawa. I feel like he is going to have the accuracy necessary and definitely the approach necessary. Other than that, he's a pretty well-rounded player. So I expect good things. I think it's going to be a good week for Colin Morikawa. I like that pick.
Yeah.
You also have Cantlay. I can jot that in there. Moving on, 8 to 9,000. I had a few more picks in here, but I was able to narrow it down to 2. I'm going with Sung J M, priced at 8.6 on DraftKings, and Tom Kim, priced at 8.5 on DraftKings, and pretty much those same kind of reasons. Sungjae is a very well-rounded player, not a bomber by any means off the tee, but we've got accuracy, we've got approach, we've got around the green skills, and we've got putting skills. So I like that little hexagon that I get with Sungjae. Is that what it is? A hexagon? 1, 2, 3, 5 sides?
Pentagon.
Pentagon.
Mm-hmm.
I like the pentagon I get. Tom Kim, pretty similar, not a bomber at all. Nice pentagon-y shape, but we get a little skew around that accuracy. And I like that as we discuss this course. So I like Tom Kim, not to be confused with another Kim we'll be discussing, and Sung J M are my 2 mid-tier picks this week. Who do you have for us?
So on the mid-tier one, I have Victor Hovland. He came out of the gate strong against opening round of the Masters, and he just kind of hung around. But when you look at, when you're looking at his overall balanced, he's 13th in the field. Around the green, he's 7th. On approach, he's 5th. Proximity on 150, 175, he's 3rd. So he's getting better on those approaches. Like he's getting pretty darn good. Before the Masters, he was not the best on the mid iron shots, but he could shape his drive. And so I think he'll be good on this course, and I think he shakes out well here. On par 5, birdie or better percentage, he's doing pretty good. And overall on the birdie better percentage, he's 31st, but I think the other things that kind of help balance it out. So I like Victor Hovland in this one. And then next up, I put 2 people here. I put Xander and Shane Lowry. So I think Lowry is more of course history and hot player pick. And I think he's done pretty well here. I think he's been in the top 10 almost every time he's played. Let me double check that. He's only been cut once out of the 5 times he played here in 18 rounds. So I'm playing him because of a hot hand and trending horses course type play here. But I'm also playing Xander Schauffele in this little mid-range here because he shakes out as a 7th best balanced golfer, and around the green and his approaches is not great, but his around the green is. And then his proximity on in is pretty good, and I'm really hoping that his birdie or better percentage helps saves him as well. So I like Xander in this particular one.
I just took a peek at Lowry for fun. And while I don't have him in my initial pool, I do have him on my fantasy league, and he is another very well-rounded pentagonish player for this course. And I like that. Not a perfect pentagon because his putting is a little lax in comparison to some of our other picks, but I think that's okay for this particular course, at least according to the model. Thank you so much, Royal Slade, our Canadian friend, chiming in for the RBC Royal Canadian Bank of Canada.
Bank of Canada.
And Wendy, it's okay. It's okay to be late. I still popped in the picks for you, so you can go back and find them. Thanks for showing up at all, actually. Now here we come to the lower tier, the value tier, 6 to 7-ish K plus. And I have a whole slew of names, and I'm like, do I just rattle them off? Let you take notes? Do I have favorites? I do really like Justin Rose here. I'm just going to say, I also, I don't know if I want to list them all out. KH Lee, Fleetwood, Rosie, probably my favorites. Poston. But there's, I'm just going to tell you them. Siwoo Kim, Webb Simpson, Adam Hadwin. And all for the very same reason. I think it's a great course fit. It's a great value. I mean, KH Lee did really well last week. And to see KH Lee coming in as a value pick this week, why not? Why not? Why not? There are a lot of great names. So I think that you could do well in this tier and get some great value, I guess, is the bottom line. And you have 2 other names that are actually not even in my pool, which is a little bit terrifying for me, but I want to hear it, and I want to hear why.
Thomas Dietrich and Brendan Todd, the Todd father. Todd father is Thomas Hogue. If your mom asked, can we have a Thomas Hogue? Or if you asked your mom if you wanted to have a Thomas Hogue, and your mom's like, we have a Thomas Hogue at home. And that home Thomas Hogue would be Brendan Todd. I hope that made sense. Anyway, so Brendan Todd's this really good off the tee and really good iron player. He is like, if you want to talk about old man golf, he's the young old man golf. He just plays that city straight down the middle type. He just can't, he's not a long striker, and he might get you in trouble on the putting, but I like Brendan Todd because overall, he's 26 tee to green as a balanced golfer, and he does okay on a proximity approach and then par 5 average. But when you look at bogey avoidance, he's second in the field, and birdie or better percentage, 13th.
Now that I think would bring me to him, because looking at the rest of the course fit, I know we look at the same course fit tool. Like, that did not even occur to me. I was like, get that crazy shape out of my face, not happening.
My name is Dieter.
So wild. And then you brought up Thomas Dietrich, and same, like, it did not cross my mind, although it's not as crazy to me as Brendan Todd. I can see the fit much better. It's, to me, appears to be more even keeled. However, he is one of the longer players off the tee. And I'm wondering, does that come into effect when the rest of the players are not as long off the tee?
Well, the one thing I think that's going to give Thomas Dietrich a leg up is the driving distance, but also driving accuracy. He's 16th in the field in driving accuracy, and he's 14th in driving distance. So if you get those two things kind of working, now there's a story in Thomas Dietrich. He was so pissed off during the Masters, he threw his driver in the trash, and he finished out his round using his 3-wood or a hybrid, whatever. And he ended up parring the rest of the holes. He just used his 3-wood, except on the par 3s, but he just used his 3-wood on obviously drivable holes and just finished in par. So I think he really did not like whatever he was doing with his driver. But he's still 14th in the field for driving distance and 16th in the field for driving accuracy, coupled with his birdie or better percentage with his 12th. I think he has a pretty good shot.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that far more than Brendan Todd. So I'm on board. There. Mr. Kind Eyes, Matt Kuchar, is not a bad pick for this tournament, actually. This is a great... You don't like it?
I say no. I think he's not a bad pick at all. I think,
not a bad pick for this tournament at all, because driving distance does not come into play. Accuracy, approach, around, like, all of his strengths can be played up at this course. So I think Matt Kuchar is going to be an excellent pick. Thank you for mentioning my favorite, Mr. Kind Eyes. Definitely going to be on one of my rosters somewhere. I can't help it. Every time he plays, I just can't help it. And we want to give a shout out to Wendy, who won $25 on a $15 entry last weekend. Definitely a win, Wendy. Congratulations. You are on a roll, girl.
Yeah, you are.
She's bankrolling her next tournament. I like it. That's how I tend to play as well.
Build up for the next major.
That's right. I'm really proud of you. So we're left with our WTF, what the fuck? And I'm going this week with JJ Spawn, who happened to just not pop out anywhere as I was doing my picks, except in one area, which was course fit, and I couldn't figure out why. But I do like JJ Spawn this week. Let me give you some particulars, because, again, very pentagon-y shaped, very even keeled. He's got some accuracy going for him, which we've talked about. He's better than average in approach, better than average around the green. He's better than average. And I think that's all we can ask for when we're looking for that total like flyer. Who can I throw in there? What am I throwing at the wall and what's going to stick kind of pick? JJ Spawn for me this week.
JJ Spawn, huh? I think it's a good pick. I mean, if you're going to go with the what the fuck pick, I kind of look at these picks as more of a maybe gut feel, a little bit of stats, and a little bit of just, a little pat on the back and hope they do well. So that's kind of where mine shakes out at is Ricky Fowler is more of a hope he goes out there and does well. Emotional pick. I'll be cheering for him.
No science this week.
He has been playing better golf. I'll have to say that. He just does not have a great course history here. So I'm hoping that his resurgence and renaissance of his swing certainly bucks the trend here at the course. So,
all right, traffic's picking up here at my little apartment as we close in on the 7 o'clock Pacific time hour. It has been a very fun week, friends. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to tweet them to me at Kelly and Phoenix, to Adam at Mr. Hallas on Twitter. Next week, Adam's flying solo while I am off in recovery land. So send all of your good vibes, all of your love. And in the meantime, you'll just see us around. We've got another little fun comment here. So Wendy watched the Masters for the first time ever. And Slade's here saying, Wendy makes it even more fun having some money on it. It really does make it more fun to watch when you have money on a tournament. You're definitely more invested.
enjoy this, Kelly.
All right, everyone. So until we meet again, see you on the interwebs. Don't be a stranger. We are going to try to use our music as an outro too and not have the awkward wave. See you next week.
Too late. I already did it.